On the evening of February 2nd, 2008, a 24-year-old real estate agent named Lindsay Buziak drove to a cul-de-sac called De Souza Place in Saanich, British Columbia, to show $1 million home to a couple who had called her out of nowhere 4 days earlier. She had never met them. She did not know their real names. She had saved them in her phone as the Mexicans. Because the woman's accent sounded Spanish, though Lindsay told her father she wasn't sure it was real. Two neighbors watched Lindsay greet the couple outside the house at 5:30 p.m. They saw her shake hands with them. The handshake of someone meeting strangers, not the embrace of someone greeting friends. The three of them went inside at 5:38 p.m. Lindsay's BlackBerry placed an outgoing call. She did not speak on that call. No words were recorded. Authorities would later determine it was a pocket dial, the phone activated by accident in the moment she was being killed. At 5:40 p.m., her boyfriend, Jason Zalo, arrived at the cul-de-sac. He saw figures through the glass of the front door and decided to wait. He did not want to be the overbearing boyfriend interrupting a business meeting. He texted her, "I'm just a couple of minutes away." She never opened it. He waited. He sent another, "Are you okay?" Nothing. At 6:05 p.m., he called 911. When officers arrived and entered the house, they found Lindsay Buziak in the upstairs master bedroom. She had been stabbed more than 40 times, concentrated, specific, vicious, with no defensive wounds on her body. The killers had left no DNA, no fingerprints, no weapon, no sign of forced entry through the back door they fled through, no trace of who they were. Nothing was stolen. She had not been sexually assaulted. The only thing that had been taken from that house was Lindsay Buziak's life. And the only thing the killers left behind was the question of who sent them. This is the case of Lindsay Buziak. Lindsay Elizabeth Buziak was born on November 2nd, 1983, in Victoria, British Columbia. She was the daughter of Jeff and Evelyn, a family that had split and reformed and carried the ordinary complications of love across two households. She had a sister named Sarah. She was 24 years old in the winter of 2008, and by every measure that matters to a person just starting out, she was finding her way. She worked at Remax Camerson Realty on Chatterton Way. She was a junior agent, ambitious, but still building her client list, still taking the listings that more established agents had already passed on. She had a live-in boyfriend named Jason Zalo. They had met in 2006 at a real estate tutoring course, shared an industry, shared ambitions, shared a condo in Vic West. She was close to his mother, Shirley Zalo, who was also a real estate agent at the same Remax office. A prominent figure in Victoria's real estate world, well-connected, known. But 6 weeks before her death, Lindsay visited her father Jeff in Calgary. In a moment she did not elaborate on, during a visit she seemed to need, she told him she had made a mistake. She was crying. She was thinking about breaking up with Jason. Jeff Buziak would later describe Jason as overprotective, possessive even. He adored Lindsay, Jeff said, but he was jealous, and that bothered her. Still, when she returned to Victoria, she stayed with him. She kept working. She kept taking clients. And in late January 2008, a woman with an accent she could not place called her cell phone, a number Lindsay had not given out, and said she wanted to buy $1 million home. The call came in late January 2008. A woman. 2008. A woman. Her accent was foreign, Spanish, Lindsay thought. though she could not quite place it. The woman said her husband was being transferred to Victoria and they needed a home urgently. Their budget was $1 million. They wanted a property that was vacant, new, move-in ready. At least 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, with separate space for a housekeeper. They wanted to buy within 2 days. Lindsay was immediately suspicious. She was a junior agent with a small client base. When she asked how they got her number, the woman said she had been referred. Lindsay called around to her existing clients. No one had given her name out. She asked her co-workers at Remax if anyone knew the number. Nothing came back. She told her boyfriend. She told her father. Both knew she was uneasy. Jason encouraged her to do it anyway. The commission would be significant, thousands of dollars, and Lindsay was stressed about money. He offered to wait outside in his car during the showing, as he had done before, so she would not be alone. The police would later determine that the number the woman called from was a burner phone, purchased months earlier at a convenience store in Vancouver, registered under the name Paulo Rodriguez. The name was fake. The phone had never been used until the calls to Lindsay began. Once activated, it was used for one purpose only: to contact a 24-year-old real estate agent in Victoria, lure her to a vacant house, and kill her. There were at least 10 calls between the woman and Lindsay over the days that followed, arranging, confirming, refining. Lindsay assigned the number a nickname in her BlackBerry, $1 Million. The couple provided no names. If they did, Lindsay never wrote them down. On the day before the murder, Friday, February 1st, the phone travelled by BC ferries from Vancouver to Vancouver Island. The killers were in Victoria. They used MapQuest to study the streets around the house, which police would later interpret as scouting escape routes. At 7:15 that evening, Shirley Zylo, Jason's mother, was at the condo her son shared with Lindsay. She overheard a 15-minute conversation between Lindsay and the female caller. The showing was set for 5:30 p.m. the next day. Lindsay told friends she was feeling really weird about it. She told a receptionist at the Remax office she was freaked out. She went anyway. A 24-year-old at the start of her career, needing the money, wanting to prove herself, reassured that her boyfriend would be outside the whole time. Saturday, February 2nd, 2008. Lindsay and Jason had a late lunch at Source, a restaurant in downtown Victoria. They paid the bill at 4:24 p.m. They left in separate cars. Jason drove to an auto detailing shop to pick up a colleague, a friend who would accompany him to the showing. Lindsay is believed to have gone home to change. They exchanged text messages throughout the afternoon. Jason was running late. Lindsay knew. At 5:30 p.m., security footage from the auto shop shows Jason and his colleague leaving at that same moment, 5:30 p.m., the appointed time. 2 witnesses in the neighborhood of de Souza Place saw a couple walking up the cul-de-sac. The man was approximately 6 feet tall, white, with dark hair. He was well dressed. The woman was white, between 35 and 45 years old, with short blonde hair and a distinctive black and white dress with patterns of red or pink running through it. They walked up the cul-de-sac towards 1702 de Souza Place, a house at the far end, still under construction, vacant, waiting for a buyer who would never come. The witnesses watched Lindsay greet them. She shook hands. The witnesses were firm on this detail later. The handshake did not look familiar. It looked like a woman meeting clients for the first time. Professional, polite, performed. Lindsay did not know the people she was greeting. and the people she was greeting had already decided to kill her. The three of them entered the house. The door closed. At 5:38 p.m., Lindsay Buziak's BlackBerry placed an outgoing call. No words were spoken. No sounds were recorded. It was a pocket dial. The phone activated by pressure, by movement, by the chaos of a body being attacked. Detectives believe that at approximately 5:38 p.m., Lindsay was led upstairs by the couple. Perhaps they asked to see the master bedroom. Perhaps they told her they wanted to check the closet space. Whatever the pretense, she went up with them. And in the master bedroom of a vacant, nearly $1 million house, autopsy reports would note that many of the stab wounds were to her breast area, which she had recently had surgically enhanced. It was a detail that suggested not random violence but intimate rage. The kind of rage that knows the body it is cutting, or the kind of rage designed to look like it. There were no defensive wounds on Lindsay Buziak's hands or arms. None. This means she did not see the first strike coming. She did not raise her hands to protect herself. She did not fight back. She was likely stabbed from behind. The first blow came before she knew she was in danger. And by the time she understood what was happening, she could no longer defend herself. The attack lasted less than 3 minutes. At some point, her phone dialed out in her pocket, and then the line went dead, because Lindsay Buziak was dead, and the couple who had killed her was already moving toward the door. At approximately 5:40 p.m., 2 minutes after the pocket dial, Jason Zalo and his colleague arrived at D'Souza Place. Zalo later told police that as they pulled up, he saw figures through the mottled glass of the front door. He assumed it was Lindsay with her clients. He did not want to be a nosy, interfering boyfriend, so he parked and waited. He waited for approximately 10 minutes. Then he drove to another street nearby to wait there instead, giving Lindsay space, not hovering. At 5:48 p.m., 10 minutes after the pocket dial, he sent a text. "I'm just a couple of minutes away." Lindsay never opened it. As more time passed, he became concerned. He texted again. "Are you okay?" Nothing. Zilo walked to the front door of 1702 D'Souza Place and tried the handle. The door was locked. Through the mottled glass, he could see Lindsay's shoes in the entrance hall, neat, side by side, where she had taken them off before walking into the house. But there was no movement inside, no sound, no answer to his knocking. At 6:05 p.m., Jason Zalo called 911. While he was on the phone with the operator, his colleague found a gap in the fence at the back of the property. He climbed through, went around to the back, and found the sliding patio door standing wide open. He entered the house through the back, moved through the main level, unlocked the front door, and let Jason in. Jason ran upstairs. He found Lindsay in the master bedroom. She was lying on her back in a pool of blood, already dead. He called 911 a second time. "I tried to give her CPR," he would later say. "I felt her skin. She was already passed away." The couple who had walked into the house with her 25 minutes earlier had simply vanished. Investigators believe they likely exited through the rear of the property, slipped through the gap in the fence, reached Torquay Drive, and disappeared without a single eyewitness seeing them leave. The crime scene yielded nothing. No DNA, no fingerprints, no hair, no fiber, no blood from the killers. The house at 1702 D'Souza Place had been professionally cleaned before the showing, a standard practice for a property on the market, which meant the surfaces were already wiped, the floors already washed, the environment already hostile to the evidence that violence leaves behind. This was not an accident. The killers had chosen a vacant house, a new listing, a property that had been cleaned to show ready condition. They had chosen an agent who was junior and eager and unlikely to say no to a $1 million commission. They had chosen a cul-de-sac at dusk in February, when the light would be low and the street would be quiet, and the neighbors who saw them would see just enough to describe them later, but not enough to identify them. Nothing was stolen. Lindsay's purse was untouched. Her jewelry was on her body. Her car keys were in the house. The BlackBerry was in her pocket, still holding Jason's unopened messages. She had not been sexually assaulted. This was not a robbery. This was not a crime of opportunity. This appeared to be a targeted killing, executed with a level of planning and forensic discipline that suggested the killers had done this before, or had been trained by someone who had. Investigators believe the killers likely intended to leave through the front door, the way they came. But when they saw Jason Zalo's car pull up to the cul-de-sac, they may have turned back, gone through the house, exited through the rear sliding door, slipped through the gap in the fence, and disappeared before anyone thought to look behind the house. If that reconstruction is correct, Jason Zalo may have missed them by only minutes, perhaps even seconds. He was sitting in his car, texting a woman who was already dead, while the people who killed her walked out the back of the house he was watching from the front. The investigation began with the people closest to Lindsay, as investigations always do. Jason Zalo and his colleague were taken into custody that night. They were questioned. Their story was verified against the time-stamped surveillance footage from the auto shop, which showed them leaving at 5:30 p.m., the same time Lindsay was greeting the couple. The timeline made it physically impossible for Zalo to have been involved in the killing. He was publicly cleared approximately 1 year later. He has been interviewed multiple times since and has passed a polygraph test. The Saanich police have repeatedly stated he is not a suspect. Lindsay's ex-boyfriend Matt McDuff, her Mr. Big, as her friends had called him, the man she had dated from 2001 to 2006, was also investigated. He had an alibi. He and Lindsay had not spoken for months. He was cleared. The couple, the man and woman who walked up the cul-de-sac and shook Lindsay's hand and entered the house and killed her and walked out the back, were never identified. The descriptions offered by neighbors produced composite sketches. The woman, white, 35 to 45, short blonde hair, a distinctive black and white dress with red or pink accents. The man, white, approximately 6 feet tall, well-dressed, dark hair. No one in Victoria recognized them. No one came forward to say they had seen them before or after. The burner phone was traced to a convenience store in Vancouver, purchased months before the murder, activated under the fake name Paulo Rodriguez. It was used only to contact Lindsay. It was deactivated after the killing and has never been used again. But the 2020 unsealing of police documents revealed something more. The killers had not brought one phone. They had brought two. The second phone, also a burner, was used only to check the voicemail of the first phone. Multiple calls to voicemail. Someone was checking messages, perhaps to confirm that Lindsay was still coming, that the showing was still on, that the plan was still in motion. The phones travelled from Vancouver to Victoria by ferry the day before the murder. They pinged towers on the island, and after the killing, they went silent, as though the people carrying them had never existed, or as though the phones themselves had been thrown into water or fire or some other place where evidence dissolves and cannot be recovered. In December 2007, about 8 weeks before her death, Lindsay visited her father in Calgary. While she was there, she tried to contact the friend of her ex-boyfriend Matt McDuff, a man who, on January 22nd, 2008, was arrested in what became the largest drug bust in Alberta's history, a major participant in a trafficking operation, one of the biggest targets. The timing was suggestive. Lindsay reached out to a man who was about to be arrested. A few weeks later, a woman with a fake accent called her phone and lured her to a vacant house and killed her. The theory, the obvious one, the one the media immediately seized on, was that someone believed Lindsay was a police informant and ordered her killed. Saanich police investigated this theory. They took it seriously. They eliminated it. Lindsay was not an informant. She had no involvement with drugs, not using, not selling, not associating with anyone who did, aside from a few Facebook friends whose criminal histories she may not even have known. The wiretaps from the investigation that led to the Alberta drug bust never picked up Lindsay's voice, her name, or any reference to her. The cartel theory, the detectives concluded, did not fit. If a cartel wants someone dead, they do not hire two people to stab a woman 40 times in the chest in an upstairs bedroom. They shoot her in a parking lot and drive away. The personal nature of the killing, the number of wounds, the concentration on the breast area, the absence of defensive injuries that suggested she was likely attacked from behind by someone she did not perceive as a threat, pointed to something else. A hired killer stabs efficiently. A personal killer overkills. And Lindsay was overkilled. But the alternative theory, that this was personal, that the couple was hired not by a drug cartel, but by someone who knew Lindsay, someone who wanted her dead for reasons that were intimate rather than professional, led investigators into a dead end. Who would want a 24-year-old real estate agent dead? Who would pay for it? Who would plan it so carefully, with burner phones and ferry crossings and escape routes mapped in advance, and then leave no trace behind? The Zylo family was investigated. D'Souza Place, the cul-de-sac where Lindsay died, is named after Joe D'Souza, a developer and business associate of Shirley Zylo, Jason's mother. D'Souza had been at the construction site an hour before the murder, supervising work. The property was connected to the Zylos' world, their real estate network, their professional circle. But police have stated that no one in the Zylo family is a suspect. Jeff Buziak, Lindsay's father, has never accepted this. He has publicly accused Shirley Zylo of involvement in his daughter's murder. Shirley Zylo sued him for defamation in 2022. Jeff Buziak countersued in 2024. The lawsuits are ongoing. A father and the mother of his daughter's boyfriend, locked in a legal war, while the body of a 24-year-old woman remains in the ground, and the people who stabbed her 40 times remain free. Jeff Buziak has not stopped. For 18 years, he has not stopped. He runs a website dedicated to solving his daughter's murder. He organizes an annual walk in her memory every February in Victoria, rain or shine. He has hired private investigators. He has spent tens of thousands of dollars. He once offered a $500,000 reward for information. He has stood at podiums and in front of cameras and on the steps of police stations, demanding answers that have not come. He has said, publicly, "I'm not going to let her down. The only way I'm going to stop right now finding out who killed her is die myself. And I'll be dying trying. I'll guarantee you that." In August 2017, a message appeared on the public tip board of his website. It read, "I killed Lindsay, and stupid cops will never prove it, so you all got nothing." The message was anonymous. The spelling of Lindsay's name was wrong. It is not clear whether it was a genuine confession, a cruel prank, or something in between. But the fact that someone, anyone, felt free to post those words on a website built by a grieving father to find his daughter's killer tells you everything about how this case has calcified. No fear of consequences. No fear of being caught. Because no one has been caught, and the years keep passing, and the silence keeps growing, and Jeff Buziak keeps walking. In 2022, Jeff Buziak hired a Vancouver-based research and investigation firm to re-examine the case. He has said he believes the Saanich police know who the killers are and have chosen not to act. The Saanich police have said the investigation remains active, that detectives and senior leadership remain in regular contact with Lindsay's parents, that they continue to pursue credible tips. In 2025, they said the same thing. In 2026, they will likely say it again. The gap between what a father believes and what the police will confirm is a gap that 18 years have not closed. Lindsay's mother, Evelyn, came forward in November 2025 on what would have been Lindsay's 42nd birthday and pleaded for information. Another year, she said, another birthday, another February approaching, and still nothing. In the documents unsealed in 2020, the production orders, the tracking warrants, the applications to obtain judicial authorizations, there is a detail that has not received the attention it deserves. The killers brought 2 phones. One phone, the one registered to Paulo Rodriguez, was used to call Lindsay. It made 10 or more calls across several days. It was the voice of the woman with the accent, the one who said her husband was being transferred, the one who wanted 3 bedrooms and a space for a housekeeper and $1 million worth of house within 2 days. The second phone was never used to call Lindsay. It was used for one thing only, to check the voicemail of the first phone, repeatedly, multiple times. Someone was calling in, listening to messages, making sure nothing had changed, that the plan was still solid, that Lindsay had not cancelled, that the showing was still on. This is not the behavior of an impulsive killer. This is the behavior of a team. 2 people, at least 2, coordinating, communicating, checking and rechecking, moving across water and across cities with 2 phones they would throw away when it was done, operating with a level of planning that suggests coordination rather than impulse. The phones went dead after the murder. They have never been reactivated. They have never been found. But the fact that they existed and that the police knew about the second phone and withheld that information from the public for more than a decade raises a question that has no comfortable answer. What else do the police know that they have not said? There is another detail in the unsealed documents, small, strange, and never resolved. In the weeks before her death, Lindsay Buziak's online activity stopped. Police examined her Toshiba laptop, voluntarily provided by Jason Zalo. They found missing chat messages, gaps in her digital history where conversations should have been but weren't. They could not determine when those files had been deleted. They also examined her Facebook account. According to the police documents, investigators noted something unusual. At the time, Facebook was still relatively new. A place where friends posted messages on each other's walls, public and visible to anyone in their network. Lindsay had approximately 700 friends, and from January 24th, 2008 to February 3rd, 2008, a span covering the days leading up to her death and the day after. Investigators noted that there were no wall messages from any of them. Not one. 700 friends. Daily activity is her normal pattern. And then, nothing. A digital silence that stretched from the moment the mysterious caller first contacted her to the day after her body was found. Investigators did not determine what caused the silence. They did not determine who might have had access to her account. They did not determine whether messages had been deleted, or whether friends had simply stopped posting, or whether something else was happening. Something that turned a social network into a closed door. What they did find on her friends list was disturbing. Among her 700 connections were people described in the documents as known violent criminals involved in the illegal distribution of drugs. Their names are still redacted. The extent of Lindsay's awareness of their activities is unknown. But the Saanich police initially believed that her association with them may have played a role in her death. That theory was pursued, then it was set aside. Then the investigation narrowed, and then 18 years passed, and the theory that mattered most, the personal nature of the killing, the 40 stab wounds, the concentration on the breast area, the intimate rage of an overkilling, remained unresolved because the person who felt that rage, or the person who paid someone else to act on it, was never identified, never charged, and never forced to answer the question that Jeff Buziak has been asking for nearly 2 decades. Who wanted his daughter dead? Lindsay Buziak was 24. She drove to a cul-de-sac in Saanich, British Columbia, on the evening of February 2nd, 2008, to show a house to a couple she had never met. She shook their hands outside. She walked inside with them. And a short time later, she was dead. She was stabbed more than 40 times. She did not defend herself. She was likely attacked from behind by someone she did not perceive as a threat, in a house that was supposed to be the beginning of a sale and became the end of her life. Nothing was stolen. She was not sexually assaulted. The only thing the killers took with them was the reason, and they have kept it for 18 years. 2 people walked away. 2 burner phones went dead. A second phone, used only to check voicemail, went dead. And a father in Calgary, and a mother in Victoria, and a sister whose name is Sarah, were left with a body that had been stabbed 40 times, and a case that no one has been able to solve, and a cul-de-sac named after a business associate of the mother of Lindsay's boyfriend. A detail that will not stop circling, that will not stop being relevant, whether it is ultimately a coincidence or a clue. Jeff Buziak walks every February. He has hired private investigators. He has countersued a woman who sued him for defamation over accusations he will not withdraw. He has said he will die trying to find the person who killed his daughter. Sometimes, in cases like this, the silence is not the absence of an answer. The silence is the answer. Someone picked up a burner phone in Vancouver. Someone rode a ferry to an island. Someone walked up a cul-de-sac in a black and white dress with red accents. Someone stabbed a woman 40 times in the chest. Someone appears to have checked the voicemail repeatedly to make sure she was still coming. And then someone vanished. Not because the evidence wasn't there, but because the evidence was so carefully erased that 18 years of investigation have not been able to reconstruct it. Lindsay Buziak's shoes are still in the entrance hall in every photograph of the crime scene. The BlackBerry is still in her pocket in every report. The text messages from Jason are still unopened. And the silence around who did this and why is still loud.